Right now, American household debt has exploded to $18.2 trillion, more than China's entire GDP. Credit card delinquencies just hit a 12-year high. Regional banks are quietly failing at rates not seen since 2008. The wealth gap has reached levels not witnessed since 1929, the year the Great Depression began.
Unlike the 1930s, we're not entering this crisis from strength. We're already drowning in debt, propped up by speculation, completely exposed. The warning signs are screaming, but everyone's celebrating record markets. Today, we're exploring the chilling parallels between now and 1929, and why what's coming might be far worse than anything we've seen before. The debt trap. America can't escape. Total U.S. household debt has reached $18.2 trillion according to the Federal Reserve, exceeding the combined GDP of the European Union and Latin America. The average American household owes $105,056, a 13% increase since 2020. Credit card debt exploded to $1.2 trillion by 2024, an all-time record. Here's the terrifying part. 8.75% of credit card balances are delinquent by 30-plus days, a 12-year high. 4 in 10 Americans missed a short-term loan payment in the past year. Americans increasingly turn to buy now, pay later schemes for basic necessities. People are borrowing money for groceries and rent, not luxuries. Average credit card balance per household is $6,580, up from $6,360 last year. Student loan debt sits at $1.6 trillion, with 17% of American adults still paying education debt. College costs skyrocketed while wages stagnated, forcing families into generational debt cycles. Median student debt is $20,000 to $24,999, creating a permanent debt class. Corporations also took record debt levels, not to innovate, but survive. Major firms use borrowed money for stock buybacks and dividends rather than productive investment, prioritizing short-term investor satisfaction over stability. The inequality bomb about to explode. America's wealth gap reached 1920s levels. The top 10% control 67.2% of total wealth, while the bottom 50% hold just 2.5%. The richest 1% own more wealth than the bottom 90% combined. For 40 years, wages barely kept up with inflation. The average worker today has the same buying power as 1978. From 1979 to 2024, productivity increased 80.9%, but compensation rose only 29.4%. Workers produce more value but see no benefits. Here's terrifying data. 27% of U.S. adults have zero emergency savings, the highest ever recorded. Only 41% could cover a $1,000 emergency with savings, down from 44% in 2024. Over half of Americans, 53%, live paycheck to paycheck, including 32.3% earning over $100,000. Medical debt destroys families. In 2024, 12% of adults, 31 million people, borrowed money for medical bills, totaling $74 billion. Even with insurance, average annual out-of-pocket healthcare costs exceed $1,100, depleting emergency funds. Financial literacy collapsed. Only 37% of Gen Z Americans are financially literate, the lowest of any generation. Without basic budgeting and saving skills, an entire generation flies blind financially, setting up catastrophic failure when the next shock hits. The banking system's hidden fragility. March 2023 previewed what's coming. Silicon Valley Bank's collapse was the third largest bank failure in U.S. history, followed by Signature Bank and First Republic Bank. 3 of the 4 largest bank failures ever, all within 2 months. Industry experts predict catastrophic regional bank failures. Barry Sternlicht predicted failures every day or every week. Howard Lutnick warned of 500 to 1,000 bank failures expected in 2025 to 2026. These aren't fringe predictions. Major financial players are sounding alarms. Small and regional banks hold 2/3 of the $3 trillion in commercial real estate exposures. 1/3 of U.S. banks hold commercial real estate exposures exceeding 300% of their capital. With $870 billion in commercial real estate loans maturing this year and interest rates making refinancing impossible, we face cascading bank failures. Unlike the 1920s, today's financial system is globally interconnected. Crises don't stay contained. They spread instantly through supply chains, trade routes, and investment flows. When Silicon Valley Bank failed, panic spread worldwide in hours, not weeks. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation isn't equipped for systemic crisis of this magnitude. With thousands of potential failures and deposits far exceeding FDIC resources, we could see complete loss of confidence in banking, the exact scenario that triggered the Great Depression, the speculations bubble ready to burst. Artificial intelligence stocks created a bubble-making dot-com look tame. NVIDIA gained $2.9 trillion in market value since 2023, with GPUs becoming the new gold rush. Palantir Technologies surged 1,000% over 2 years. These valuations are completely disconnected from reality. NVIDIA reached a price-to-sales ratio over 40, while Palantir pushes 69 times sales. During .com, companies peaked at 30 to 40 times sales before crashing. We're already beyond historic danger levels. History shows these valuations are never sustainable. 7 companies, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, represent 29% of the S&P 500's value. This concentration exceeds pre-.com crash levels. When these fall, they'll take the entire market down. Venture capital poured $200 billion into generative AI since 2021. Q2 2024 alone saw a record $23.3 billion in AI investments. 33% of all VC portfolios are committed to AI. Dangerous concentration screaming bubble. When this bursts, it won't just wipe out the wealthy, it will destroy retirement accounts, pensions, and middle-class savings. Unlike previous crashes affecting mainly the rich, this will devastate ordinary families believing they're safely diversified. The government's impossible debt spiral. Federal debt exploded to $36.2 trillion. You could buy Tesla 11 times with just the interest payments. Annual interest approaches $1 trillion, exceeding Medicare and defense spending combined. Interest is now the fastest-growing budget portion. The Congressional Budget Office projects costs reaching $1.8 trillion by 2035. As a share of federal revenues, interest hits 18.4% by 2025, exceeding the 1991 high, reaching 22.2% by 2035. May 2025. Moody's became the 3rd major agency downgrading U.S. credit rating. They noted interest costs rising from 9% to 30% of federal revenue by 2035. Borrowing costs increase as we need to borrow more. Unlike the 1930s when Roosevelt implemented bold reforms, Congress is paralyzed. The 118th Congress passed only 1% of proposals. The political system sacrificed problem-solving for partisan theater, making reform impossible. The Federal Reserve is trapped between raising rates risking recession or lowering them reigniting inflation. We've used tools that helped previous recoveries. Nothing's left. Why this time is different? The 1930s began from relative strength. America was building, innovating with room to maneuver. Today we start from maximum leverage, minimum savings, complete exposure. No cushion exists. 1929 bank runs took weeks spreading across the country. Today, digital banking and social media destroy institutions in hours. Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in 48 hours, faster than regulatory response. The 1920s economy was relatively isolated. Today, supply chains, financial markets, economies are completely intertwined. U.S. crises instantly spread worldwide with no country strong enough for bailouts. Debt isn't in one sector, it's everywhere. Public debt, corporate debt, household debt, student loans, municipal debt all reached historic levels simultaneously. When the system breaks, no healthy sector provides stability. Unlike tight 1930s communities with practical skills, Today's society is atomized and dependent on complex systems. When systems fail, people lack social networks or practical knowledge for independent survival. Government programs designed preventing another Great Depression are maxed out from previous crises. Unemployment benefits, Social Security, Medicare are financially strained and can't absorb massive shocks. The question isn't if this bubble bursts, it's when. History shows debt-fueled speculation bubbles always end badly. Warning signs flash red, but like 1929, they're ignored. Build emergency savings, reduce debt, avoid speculation mania. Study history, prepare for volatility. People who see crashes coming survive them. We can learn from 1929 or repeat it. The Great Depression wasn't inevitable. It resulted from negligence, greed, willful blindness. Today we face the same choice.